War Eagle War Report family, I'm your host C-Dub, and we have a special treat for you guys tonight. We preview week 9 of the SEC weekend. We're also going to preview our matchup with Ole Miss, and we have a special guest who will join us to help us do just that. And we'll always give our predictions at the end of the show, so stick around for that. But for now, sit back, get your weight up, because tonight we enter the war room.
You are now listening to the War Report. Wednesday night War Room. Brought to you by Auburn Sports.com. Ike Jones. B. Will. C. Doe. Mike G. Let's go!
War Eagle War Report family, War Eagle everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest installment of the Wednesday Night War Room, brought to you in partnership by our good friends, and I don't see it, but here it go. AuburnSports.com. Guys, for your recruiting needs and all information regarding Auburn athletics and Auburn sports, please be sure to check them out. They will have you covered on that front. Also, shout out to our War Report family and community. Help us by sharing the video on your social media using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. And if you're here for the first time, first off, welcome. But you need to become something. Mike G, what do I need to become?
Insider. Come on in from the cold. Become an insider. We got AC, lemonade, all the things you could want as an insider for $5.99. So we got a lot of exciting content coming out. Listen, as part of being an insider, we just dropped a bi-week film review. If you haven't seen this, watch the film yet. It was entertaining. So what we did this week was we split off the interview portion, the first 20 minutes of Ike just kind of talking with Ben and Devin. And and then we did a film review with these two guys, and it was phenomenal. If you're an insider and you haven't seen this yet, please go to the Watch the Film playlist. This was sponsored by Devin, who is a mortgage banker, and he's licensed in a bunch of places, including Alabama, Georgia, and Virginia. So here's his contact information. Go check Devin out. He can help you with that mortgage. Other than that, you guys know the deal. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to save all the puppies. We got about 4 days to go in the month, and we got a lot of money to go to meet our $500 a month goal. So if you could find it in your heart, if payday is this weekend, go over to our GoFundMe. You can find this link in the about section of our YouTube channel. Every 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to save puppies. You guys know the drill. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter for an AU t-shirt. This is a War Report exclusive. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Make sure the spelling's right so you guys can get entered in. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark. I will remind everybody mid-show. Last but certainly not least, we are on podcast. Please go check this out. You can catch this Wednesday Night War Room on podcast. I know the podcast is a little bit more car-friendly or other activity-friendly than having a YouTube app up. So we are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud, Podbean, anything that you listen to podcasts on. The War Report is there, and we are slowly climbing the podcast charts.
Absolutely. Shout out to all of those watching live with us. Appreciate you, Dorian Hurd. War Eagle to you, brother. Thanks for that super chat. Also, we got a question about betting with B. Will. B. Will, you want to address that, sir?
Yeah, George Miller asked, can I walk you through our Friday show? You don't get it until it's too late. I promise you're not missing it on Friday, because now we are no longer doing it on Friday. Time constraints made it a little bit difficult to record, edit, and it takes 3 or 4 guys to do that. Instead, it's just me. I get on Twitter from the War Report handle. That's at the War Report on Twitter. And we are going to go through the picks. So it's not quite as lengthy, not quite as detailed, but what that lets us do is wait until the entire week is gone by. We know who's traveling. We know who's hurt. And then we make our picks with the best information, the most timely information at 10 a.m. on Twitter on game day. So that's me at the War Report handle behind the Twitter. Come talk to me then. We even do polls for the picks so the whole community can get in on it. So please come join us and do that.
Awesome. Gentlemen, how are we feeling, man? How are we feeling about this week? We're off the bye week, home game, Ole Miss. Got a top 10 opponent coming into Jordan-Hare. Talk to me, Ike. How you feeling about this game?
Right now, I feel cautiously optimistic. I'm back into the cautious optimism space. Like I was probably like super fired up before, and now I'm just like, man, I don't know, cause our defense ain't been playing great, and Ole Miss's offense looks really good. And I just don't know what to make of our offense yet because I haven't seen it but the one time. So we'll see. But right now, I still think we can get the W, but we got a lot of things that we need to figure out come game day. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm feeling good. Otherwise,
Feeling good, feeling great. Mike G, how you feeling about going into this weekend? How you feeling about our Auburn Tigers, man?
Yeah, well, I feel hopeful. I think that there are some things we'll be able to do successfully against Ole Miss. Want to see if we can do it 2 weeks in a row. No, we had a bye week, so 2 game weeks in a row. But this is going to be about this game is going to tell me a lot about whether we possess the ability to be consistent. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm feeling again cautiously optimistic about that part of it. We got to show some consistency, man. We have to be able to do a lot of things consistently. Matt Corral, I think, is going to give us a run for our money on Saturday. So hopefully we can bottle him up and make him a lesser factor in this game and then control the rest. So feeling hopeful. I think we might be able to do some things on Saturday.
B. Will? You're muted right now.
My bad. I was feeling pretty good until everybody started picking us. And now I'm like, I don't know, man. Y'all weren't supposed to take us. Like, we're supposed to still be sneaking up on people. But once you beat Arkansas, who people had in somewhat high regard, even though they were the world beater that people thought they were when they beat A&M, now we got somebody's attention. Bowl played an outstanding game. He started to look better. The wide receivers looked better. The offensive line looked a little better. And now they kind of hyping us up. And I really did want to see that. Now I'm worried. I wasn't worried before because we weren't favored. Now I'm worried because, like Ike said, we still got a bunch of holes in the zone. And they, even if they aren't otherworldly scoring, passing, they are still high volume. They're volume shooters is what they are. And all it takes is a little momentum early for them, early success, and it's never going to stop. And then we will forever be on our heels, and it'll be a shootout. And that is the opposite of what I want for this game. So I'm a little worried. But, and to Walt's point, I see Walt just chipped in here. Walt was actually messaging me. He's like, he said, I don't like it either. I don't like it either. They why do they like us? Stop. Tell them to stop. I don't like it. That's how I'm feeling. I'm still cautiously optimistic, but I'm worried now.
Is it possible that was it easy to say that with Auburn of the past? I mean, and sure, we're still 7 games into the Harsin era. We're not quite sure what kind of team this is. Auburn traditionally has not performed well under pressure or as the favorite in years past. So it's understandable why people would feel that way. But hopefully with Harsin, who clearly doesn't care what the media thinks about anything, is it possible that translates to the team and that we don't fold under pressure when we're favored in these games? You think that's something that we can look forward to seeing a change in?
One thing I have liked so far that I've seen about this team is even in the games that we lost, right? Like Georgia, Penn State, I don't think it was a situation where the team didn't look prepared or they looked nervous. I'm beating a dead horse when I say I didn't like the game plan at Penn State. And I think that's more to blame, minus a few defensive busts, right? Like the game plan offensively, I think is more to blame for that loss than I think that people were being nervous. I don't know what to attribute the Moonball Bowl to, but I don't think nerves were an issue for the team overall. In the Penn State game, Georgia game, we came out and we drove the ball right down the field on them, right? Like they came in, they looked prepared. On the road, we haven't looked like the big crowd. Like LSU didn't look like they were out there being overwhelmed by. So I think mentally we're in a better place this year. I just need to see us put it together execution wise a little more consistently before I've bought into what the offense is holistically. But yeah, as far as what I think the mentality is of this team, I think that they legitimately feel like they can go out on any field and compete with anybody. Now, whether that's a reality from an execution and physicality standpoint is different, but it ain't because they don't think it, right? I don't think that they're going into games scared. I just think that they get out there and they realize, oh, shoot, well, maybe this dude is a little faster than I thought, right? Like, I didn't think McConkey could run straight past me on a go route, but maybe he can. Maybe he is really fast, right? Like, so it's not because I'm not getting beat mentally. Like, it's just a physicality standpoint. We're just not necessarily there yet. But we'll get there. I think, the mental hurdle is the first.
Gotcha. Address some super chats real quick. Stuart Donald, appreciate that. Hashtag get us off these jobs. Hashtag save the puppies. War Eagle. Thank you, sir. You even chatted it twice. God bless you, my friend. Also, Vernon, always good to have you joining with us, man. Go out there and support his channel as well. Appreciate you, man. And Walt says, come on, B. Will. That's my line.
That's where the conversation started because Walt hit me up. So credit to Walt.
Isaac Ritchie, my favorite guys, Seat Up, Ike, B. Will, and Mike. Like, touch on his balls, G.
Put some touch on it.
It will never die.
Put some touch on
it.
Hashtag juicy B. Will nuggets.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say,
don't try to deflect. Don't try to deflect because I didn't say juicy B. Will nuggets.
I said
you said it.
No, I said
yes,
it. I said
you
it.
said on your own, out of your own mouth, you spoke the word nice touch on his balls. Nobody made you say that. Nobody said that for you.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
All right.
That's very true. I did say that.
Man.
That's a direct quote.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and get into previewing week 9, shall we? But before we do that, let's see how we look after 8 weeks.
The hell?
Mike
LSU, man,
still believes in LSU. I don't know why. I don't know what for. I don't know what's in it for you, but you keep dying on this hill called LSU, and you're dying.
Guys. Coach O said they were too injured as a team to hold a practice today. LSU did not hold a practice today.
He gave up.
Yikes.
Because they had too many injuries and they had a scrimmage scheduled for tomorrow that they're canceling.
Yikes.
Holy crap. The wheels are falling off the bus there.
Yeah.
I mean,
front page of ESPN. We are too injured to practice.
This is their bye before Bama, right?
Yeah, they're on bye week this week.
Yeah.
I think it's funny they still give them a bye together, as if that's still going to be this monumental game.
I mean, because they scheduled it.
I mean, they scheduled it in the offseason.
I'm just saying, though, that everybody's assumption was it was one down year for LSU. Now, I ain't going to say everybody because nobody on this panel, absent of Mike G, thought that. Yeah. But most people thought it was going to be one down year for LSU, and they'd be right back in the conversation again this year because from a talent standpoint, they had all the stars over there, right? But all right. All right.
We'll
Trevor
see.
Thornton, appreciate that very much. War Eagle,
we will surely see about that. Well, listen, before we get into these predictions and talk about the lines and the over and under is brought to you by our betting partner, BUSR. And guys, go over there, support us, help us out by going over to busr.com/report and setting up an account. Even if you don't gamble much, please go over there and set up an account, gamble with them ever so often. It helps us out when you do that. because they are supporters of the War Report. So please be sure to do that. That's busr.com/rapport. Guys, let's go ahead and get into this this week's predictions, shall we? The first one, I mean, it's almost like we're going to always lead with this team, pretty much, and it's going to be
more interesting this week, though. To me,
it is actually it is.
It's more interesting this week.
Well,
I mean, I guess from a betting standpoint, like, listen, Vanderbilt gave South Carolina all they wanted last week. Like, and Missouri's defense is garbage. Yeah. They're awful. So if this is a week that Vandy can put up, if any week Vandy could put up some points, this is the week. The question is their defense remotely good enough to stop Missouri? If Missouri can run the ball, then they don't have, like, that's Missouri's whole thing. They have to be somewhat balanced. They can't just throw the ball. Like, if they can run, they can score on anybody. But their defense can't stop anybody. Like, they have not stopped anybody this season. They're terrible. I'm still picking Missouri. I just said all that. I'm still picking Missouri.
Yeah, that was a long way to pick Missouri.
I was just saying that it was a more interesting game than it appears to be on the surface.
You gonna watch it?
I'm not that interested.
Yeah, we got to talk. What do you mean by interesting?
I'm just saying, for people who like either of those teams, it could be a good game.
Okay.
If you're Missouri, it could be a terrible game, because if you're gonna let Vanderbilt play with you, they got to be embarrassed.
So I'm just saying, like, if you're a betting person, this may be a more interesting line than it looks like. 16.5 is a lot to give that Missouri defense to hold.
Yeah, it is.
Like I said, the matchup is more interesting on its face. I mean, on the than it is on the surface. On the surface, it looks like damn.
This is the SEC basement bowl right here. Who the loser of this game is in the basement, basically. And
has Missouri played South Carolina yet?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they do. Do they play?
It's a three-way basement bowl, honestly, because that was a close game with South
That's what
Carolina.
I'm saying. Vandy and South Carolina.
If Vandy beats Missouri, then yes, it gets really interesting in terms of what happens between Missouri and
Vanderbilt
South Carolina.
holds the bottom by themselves if they lose this game, for sure, because they've already lost to the other team that was close to the bottom, which is South Carolina. I mean, they barely lost to it, but they lost.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I got Missouri. Be real.
You know what? I think bad teams can't wait for an opportunity to play a team and get a win, man. And Mizzou has looked like their running back. He's leading in a bunch of metrics in running back productivity. Stuff like broken tackles, yards after contact. But their defense is so bad.
I'm tripping. I said that Missouri might not play South Carolina. They have to. They're both in the East, so they have to play them at some point. So
they both got to play. We'll see it.
Yeah.
It's like, so Baselak isn't bad. Beatty isn't bad. But why are teams beating them down so badly? Like Missouri can't even hang with people.
Because when people make them one-dimensional and they say Missouri's getting the same treatment Auburn has been getting, which is great. Take Beatty out of the game. Bazelak, go for it. What are you going to do? Right? And when it's all on his shoulders and he can't produce for a couple of series, then
it's over.
The other team keeps scoring. And now you have no choice but to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. So it's like you eliminate their run game super early because they get behind early. They can't tackle. They can't stop people. And so now it's just like, all right, cool. Can you throw for 400 to 600 yards this game? Because if not, you're going to get beat down.
Yeah, I'm very close to picking Vanderbilt because I think they probably smell blood in the water. I think they want to win. They play really hard.
Theirs or Missouri's.
They smell Missouri's. They've been tasting theirs all year. They know what theirs tastes.
They taste blood in their mouth, but they smell blood in the water. They're like, oh, this ain't me. This is somebody else's blood.
All right, I'm gonna say. You know what? I got a lead to play with a little bit. I'm gonna say Vandy. Vandy gets that win.
Listen, right. If there was any time to pick an upset, this would be the one. Like I was close to going there. I don't know that Vandy has enough firepower.
I got Vandy covering. I got Vandy definitely covering.
Yeah,
but
I don't know that Vandy can score enough. It's not necessarily that I don't think that Missouri. Like I just don't know if they can. Like if it becomes a shootout, does Vandy have enough guns? I don't trust that. That's my whole thing.
No, they don't.
Mike,
these are by far and away the worst two teams in this conference defensively. They are just terrible. It's a fight at the bottom for every defensive metric that exists. It is either Vanderbilt or it's Missouri. I just think Vanderbilt is bad, and I cannot pick them in good conscience. So I'm going to go with Missouri. But
you can pick LSU.
Missouri is giving up. They are giving up about 40 more yards per game than Vanderbilt is defensively.
Wow.
So, like,
how are you worse than Vanderbilt on defense?
Yeah,
wow,
that's crazy,
man.
I told you Missouri's defense is awful. Like, I was not exaggerating when I said they're awful.
Who's their defensive coordinator?
They're pretty bad.
Terrible on defense. They can't tackle. Like they cannot tackle in open space.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm gonna go with Missouri, but not with any conviction. This is just who's gonna be the worst team in the SEC this year. This game will tell us for sure.
Yeah.
For certain.
Yeah.
Losers the worst.
Yeah.
Losers the worst.
You can definitely do that. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Wait, Mike, what was your pick?
He picked Missouri.
Missouri. Okay, so I'm just me. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just you.
Right.
Just yeah, we get to catch up if B will miss one.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Tigers. I don't even care who they are. All right, whatever. Missouri.
They're the Tigers.
They're the Tigers.
I don't even want to say. I can say "Let's go Tigers" and not feel bad about it because we are too. But I don't even really want to cheer for them. They're terrible. All right, go.
Number 12, Kentucky at Mississippi State. Look at that line.
This is an interesting one as well, actually.
Now, this is one that you might be interested in picking an upset for. Actually, ESPN's Football Power Index is leaning Mississippi State at 53%. Gentlemen, what say you about this matchup? Who you like? B. Will?
Last week, Kentucky had a bye, which was good because they needed it. I think that bye is what gets Kentucky the win this week. They came right off of that Georgia game. I mean, they are a similar makeup as we are, honestly. They have deficiencies, but their coach seems to have them properly motivated. I think, like Ike was saying earlier, we are a properly motivated team. So when I see that kind of mirrored in Kentucky, it makes it hard not to go that way. I know Mike Leach has them playing the type of game they want to play. It's not with the type of talent he needs to make it foolproof, but their quarterback is like a great trigger man for that offense. I mean, they're executing. They're putting yards up. They're putting points up. Granted, last week was fool's goal because it was against Vanderbilt or Missouri. I can't matter. Defensively, it doesn't matter which one of those it was. They got to show out because they played a bad defense. But, man, I think that bye and that rest gets them this win this week, man. I think Kentucky wins this game.
Mike G?
Rodgers is throwing the ball like a million times a game in this offense. And when you look at Mississippi State's schedule, this team is 6 points away from being a one-loss squad. Memphis by 2 and LSU by 3. So I don't think I've been the Kentucky hype. I looked at their schedule and I was like, wow, this Kentucky team has a chance to do something, right? Like, I just don't. I'm not a whole believer in Kentucky, so I'm gonna go with Mississippi State in this one. I want to pick the upset here. There's no LSU hill for me to die on this week, so this will be my replacement game. I saw somebody said in the comments that I was going to find a way to pick LSU on the bye week. This is me.
LSU is currently. Let's just be clear. LSU is currently losing the bye week.
They come practice today, right? Yeah, so they are losing.
Practice.
How you get fired on your off day, Craig? I'm gonna go with Mississippi State here. I think Mike Leach makes this entertaining.
It's a very tempting pick. A very tempting pick. I was leaning Mississippi State. I'm gonna go Kentucky here. I'm gonna go Kentucky. Ike, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Kentucky as well. I just think that the issue that I have here is that in order to beat Kentucky, you have to force them to throw the ball. And Mississippi State hasn't been particularly great at stopping people from running the ball. And Kentucky has the better overall defense, right? So I feel like if you can you know that the vast majority of what Mississippi State wants to do is throw, right? And so you've got to take away the short stuff and well, not take it away, but like limit it so it doesn't go for big plays like a lot of their slants underneath crossers, stuff like that. You just got to limit that kind of stuff. And though I do believe the Mississippi State quarterback has matured a lot in this offense from year 1 to year 2, I believe in Kentucky's defense a little bit more, and I don't trust Mississippi State's run defense. So I'm going to go Kentucky in this one.
Yeah. We got an interesting question here that I noticed, happened to notice. You're asked, are they going to fire Mike Leach after this year? No. But what I want to ask you guys is, Texas Tech just fired their coach.
You think they want him back at Texas Tech?
No way. He left there in scandal.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think they want him back at Texas Tech.
I think this is actually a better job than Texas Tech.
It might be.
I mean, any SEC job that is not named Vanderbilt is better than Texas Tech.
Right.
And that includes South Carolina, I think, they're probably on par with one another. Just because like Texas Tech is not a reputable excuse me, Texas Tech fans, I'm sorry, but like, let's be clear. You're not a reputable program in your conference.
Yes,
right?
You had Patrick Mahomes. He's gone.
And you weren't even really good with him, right? Like you were just an average team with one of the best quarterbacks that the NFL has seen in the past decade, right? So again, your program is kind of trash. But, so to be an okay team in a weak conference, you're probably on par with a weak team in a very good conference as far as the job is concerned.
Yeah, now that you put it that way, I just thought about Tuberville leaving them for Cincy. And remember, Cincy is not Cincy now, when Tub was there. So anyway, we got a super chat here. Lance Morgan and AL.com. Stop bashing Harsin for not disclosing his vaccine status. It's against HIPAA laws to demand any medical statuses that includes the players. Yeah, he's been mum on that. I make no conclusions about it. Harsin's just moved to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into this conversation today.
Yeah,
if any of y'all want to comment on it, please feel free.
But Harsin just moves to the beat of his own drum.
I gotta say this.
That's not what HIPAA is, by the way.
Yeah, not at all. People keep throwing that out there. They don't even know what HIPAA is.
But
y'all just found a term.
The thing about this that boggles me is that people think that he would come here, refuse to get a vaccine, and then give up moving his family and giving up his job that he had at the home that he loved. You think he's just going to resign on December 9th? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And no matter what, that doesn't make sense. I think him not talking about it is not the same as him saying, I'm going to do something one way or another. And speculation to it is irrelevant, especially when December 8th comes, you'll know exactly what he decides to do. So
yeah, the outrage on both sides. The reporter asked, it was relevant,
right?
They put in a policy, like it or not, the way he answered the question earlier this season, someone was definitely going to ask. Right. So he asked, he stated, my position hasn't changed. We move on. That's how I feel about that, right? He just
now I agree. The AL.com article is trash. But no, so to the point of the comment, the article
it's clickbait, man. Listen, it's clickbait.
Clickbait.
Goodman does that.
Who didn't see that coming?
I agree that comic very unprofessional. Apparently unvaccinated. That's low. Yeah. So there was a comic strip that had Harsin with the AU shirt on, and then apparently was coming down from the A and unvaccinated coming down from the U. So what? Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of stuff where it's like we've moved beyond the bounds of sensibility in this conversation. Yeah. And I understand fundamentally the arguments on both sides of it, but in every debate, once you get into the fringe of it and you start living in that fringe, you get to a space where you're not really useful for the conversation anymore.
Yeah, I gotta say, listen, he is keeping the same energy about not talking about things that are not football.
Right.
Right.
Everything though, not just stuff that involves him.
Yeah,
like,
right.
everything. He's just
Right.
like,
Really about
that's,
football, you know, we'll
I'm not
talk
talking
about
about it.
Yeah,
and,
right. Yeah,
and I
so-
respect that energy.
Yeah, so I don't think it's you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that part. All right, number 1, Georgia meets Florida for the largest. They still call it that, the largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah,
Something-
they just renewed it in Jacksonville, by the way. Yeah, the city just renewed this for like another 5 years or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody bold enough to go with Florida in this matchup?
No,
Anyone has? Come on, Mike. I see. Okay, what's your question, Mike?
Come on, man.
What's their quarterback situation right now?
Doesn't matter. They're both
The same
trash.
way it was when you last saw it.
That's
man,
not an answer.
Richardson is hurt every other game. He is the better quarterback, but he can't throw the ball for real. Jones is erratic
Emory
with
is
throwing
just-
the ball, and he's not as good running the ball. So I just
Richardson got hurt, didn't he?
He got
in the last
hurt.
game?
Every
Well, I
time
don't
he
know.
goes out.
I don't know if
out.
he's able to play, but he's been hurt.
He's been injured all season. Listen, I don't believe in their quarterbacks. As much as I am a fan of Dan Mullen's ability to scheme up stuff, Georgia's defense is that good. You cannot go against Georgia's defense with an inability to throw the football. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like Georgia's going to have to come out in this game completely flat to have the only
give
thing
them a
that makes
chance.
this even arguable is it being at Florida, and somehow when they're at home, they're playing better this year. See the Bama game, but Georgia's defense is not.
Is that a
Bama's
neutral?
defense.
But I thought that was a neutral site game. That's actually in Florida.
It's in
Jacksonville. I mean, they sell the tickets 50-50, so technically it's neutral site. But I see what he's saying, that the only way it was even possible is if it was in the swamp.
Right.
Sure.
And so, like, I don't believe in their quarterback situation at all. So I just can't see an upset happening. If it happens, then, praise the stars, whatever y'all did in Swamp Voodoo came true. But I don't believe in your quarterbacks, either one of them. You could put them together and they would still be trash. It would just be like a trash heap.
Yeah.
Georgia. I'm going Georgia. I mean, even with that, I'm going Georgia.
Come on, Mike. Come on, man.
Okay, so hear me out.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Undefeated seasons in our league don't happen very often. They're very, very rare that somebody rolls all the way through the regular season undefeated. And so every year for somebody, there's some game that we all say is a lock. And then chaos happens for whatever reason. And then after the game,
Penn State just lost to Indiana.
Everybody's sitting here thinking, no one saw that coming, right? There's one of those moments literally every year. This is the last chance, I think, for that moment on Georgia's schedule. They finish out Missouri, maybe Tennessee, if they pull something, some abbreviation. I don't even know what that is. Charleston Southern, maybe. Yep. And they finish out with Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So this might be, arguable. Tennessee's kind of trending up.
Kind of. They're offensively, they're not as horrible as they were the first couple of games of the season after.
They're better than we thought they would be this year.
It's mostly the quarterback change. The original quarterback was terrible.
Andrew Hooker he dropped some dimes against Bama last week.
Yeah,
His
the
wide
quarterback
receivers dropped
change.
those dimes as well.
Yeah, so that could arguably be, if they came out completely flat. It's at Tennessee.
This is funny. Mike G headgear pick.
Don't give me ideas, James. You know what? The hell with it. I'm going to pick Florida.
Go for it, Mike. My man. Walt Taylor, appreciate that stupid chat right there. Yeah, he does have a lot of issues not to leave. But
agreed. $5 million will get you to do a lot of things. I'd get vaccinated and unvaccinated for $5 million. Put it in, take it back out.
You take it back out.
$5 million. So I would go with Florida on this one. I think.
Oh, that's funny.
I think. I just think, hey, some crazy stuff happens sometimes. Like, why not? You don't always need a reason.
You're the craziest.
Hold on, this is the one I wanted right here. This is exactly why.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I told y'all I was going to go all the way down. So I hit 2 LSUs this week.
The only way that you're get from behind is to go against the grain.
Crazy things have already happened involving Florida. Okay,
yeah,
they lost
if
LSU.
I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose big. Damn it, I'm going all the way down. I'm going to have the worst record.
Just one L either way.
Yeah.
It's a season L, no matter how many you lose in between, man. You're right. Go for it.
So go for it, Florida.
My man.
Florida shocks the world. Probably
that would literally be shock the world. Like
everybody.
I mean, let's be clear. People feel like Georgia is this unbeatable juggernaut. They're not, right?
They're not. Yeah.
The problem is, it's not that Georgia doesn't have vulnerabilities. It's that nobody else is that good.
Right.
Like, who's exploiting those vulnerabilities? Nobody. Right. It's not that you can't move the ball against Georgia. It's you don't. We had our opportunities. We didn't do it. It wasn't because Georgia forced a bunch of errors. We beat ourselves a lot that game. Georgia fans, if you're in here later watching this in here right now and you think I'm being a homer, please go back and watch that game and say to yourselves, did Georgia instance or did Auburn just screw it up? Because those are definitely two different things. Your team is good. You're actually a really good team. You're by far, to me, the best team in the country. You're not impenetrable. Calm down. And when you screw up, we will be here to laugh at you.
Yep. If we get 5 GoFundMe donations, I'll change my pick back to Georgia before the end of the broadcast. So we get 5 GoFundMe.
That's just how.
Listen, people,
you are.
If you want to give GoFundMe donations, don't do it for him to do more losing. Just give the GoFundMe for the puppies and then the support.
Yeah, give it.
Kind of humane.
I'm just trying to motivate people, man. You gotta go mess it up.
I'll pick Vandy if you donate X amount of dollars. No, we're not. We're not. Just donate to the puppies. Listen, guys, let us know your thoughts, especially if you're watching on replay. Let us know your thoughts. Any upsets you see this upcoming weekend, let us know in the comment section. And as always, guys, this is a reminder that you're watching the Wednesday Night War Room. We actually pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
The War Report's Wednesday Night War Room is brought to you by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Our betting partner, BUSR. Bet with confidence at BUSR.com/report. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Listen, guys, become an insider. We've got a lot of compelling reasons for you to do so. One of which being watch the film. This was our bye week watch the film segment. So we pre-recorded this and then dropped it for you guys last night. I got to say, this was probably one of my favorite watch the films ever. Devin and Ben Obamanu were incredible to talk to. Hearing Ben's thoughts, Devin's been with us a few times, but the two of them together kind of breaking down wide receiver play and analyzing, catching the ball, route running. I'll definitely learn some things. If you haven't seen this, they took us to school on everything from route running to when the receiver actually will turn around to look for the ball. Right. So chemistry between the quarterback and receiver, we went over it all. Thanks to our guy, Devin Aroma-Shadu, former Auburn wide receiver and NFL vet. He's a mortgage banker now, so he sponsored this segment. This is his information. Please go check him out. If you missed it at the top of the broadcast, we're giving away a T-shirt, a in the comments.
102 people entered at this point.
Oh, okay. All right. We're doing all right. Yeah, that's a third. That's a third of y'all. So hashtag get your weight up. I'm sorry. In the comments to enter this, we're going to pull at the 1 hour mark. So please hashtag get your weight up to get your chance at that. Guys, I want to acknowledge our sponsor, BUSR. Help us out. Listen, if you're not a betting person, it's okay. Sign up for an account. Take a look at the lines. Make one bet a year. That's pretty much what I do. Every year, I put $100 on Auburn to win the national championship, no matter what. I have some really sad stories I can tell about that later, but this helps us out. So support us by supporting our sponsors, please. Our merch store is live, so if you don't win the T-shirt, you can just go buy one and help support us. We would appreciate it. Last but not least, listen, guys, become an insider, man. We are giving away tickets to the Mississippi State game. You got 2 more games you can win tickets to, this and the Iron Bowl. So if you want to go, we sent 4 people to Ole Miss. 4 people?
Yep.
We sent 4 people. 2 sets of 2 to the Ole Miss game. We are sending 2 more people to the Mississippi State game. And who knows, we might have another ticket come up for Mississippi State as well, too. So we've got some really great stories about people who went to their first Auburn game ever on us. That made me so happy. So we want to be able to send. This is insider only, though. You got to be an insider, be a part of our community, and we're going to draw for those tickets and announce the winner on the next Wednesday night War Room.
Indeed. Guys, let's get to it. Let's talk about
super chats. Let's grab these real quick.
Okay,
though. Austin Barrell says that he'll do a $20 donation if Mike G wears a Bama shirt. I don't even want to put him.
Wait, time out. So let me tell you, I'll tell a story real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, because we still talking about Bama shirts. When I was a student videographer for Auburn, I had a lot of friends that I went to high school with that actually went to Alabama. And I went to Tuscaloosa one weekend and stayed at one of their dorms. They gave me a T-shirt to wear. So I had a jersey on at practice a couple days later, and I had this T-shirt, right? And it got hot outside, so I took off my jersey. I didn't pay attention to what the shirt was at all. And so I get back to the office with my camera, and my boss says, Mike, is that Big Al on the back of your T-shirt? And I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? It's just a white T-shirt with something on the back. It was the Alabama elephant on the back of my T-shirt. Guys, I got to tell you, he was like, man, if Coach had seen that, you definitely would have been fired. But they pretty much said, you're going to have to take that T-shirt off. We're going to cut it up and burn it. And I was like, are you guys being serious? Like, I could just throw it away later. He's like, no, you have to take it off. We're going to give you an Auburn T-shirt, and you're going to cut that, and we're going to burn it right here. We burnt that T-shirt, guys. And my boss told me, he was like, listen, if you had been like, I don't want to mess up my nice Alabama T-shirt, he was going to fire me. And so I just thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, it was like an Alabama supply store, like a student supply store T-shirt. It was like it wasn't like just like a big A or something. It was, something like, like a Tiger Rags T-shirt or something like that. I don't know, but it made me think about that when he said wear Alabama T-shirt. That's the only time in my life I've ever put anything on that's Alabama related.
So you're saying it's possible?
I mean, it just had to be a mistake.
No, not for $20. So Scorpio in the score, I appreciate that $5 right there for the super chat.
Do something strange for a piece of change, man. Come on.
Nah, fam. You're trying to save puppies, not kill Mike G's soul.
We burnt a T-shirt. You guys, we burnt a T-shirt in the athletic department.
Y'all ain't take it out back?
No, man, we did it right
there. Burn it right there.
Yeah, I was like, wow, we really doing this?
Give it to me.
Smoke detectors in good shape inside the athletic department. No. Yeah. All right, man, let's get into this, man, because our guest is here. I want to make sure we respect his time. So.
Indeed. Let's talk about this big time matchup. Number 10 Ole Miss comes into Jordan-Hare to face off against number 18 Auburn. Of course, it's this upcoming Saturday at 6 p.m. on ESPN. The lines have been kind to Auburn. Actually, the ESPN Football Power Index is leaning towards Auburn, which is why B. Will is so nervous. The series history is that Auburn is leading 34-10. Last year's game, Auburn won very close on the road at Oxford, 35-28. We're now joined by Neil McCready of RebelGrove.com. Neil, welcome to the War Report. How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
So how are things down in Oxford with Ole Miss 6-1, top 10? Things are looking good for them. What's the feeling up there? I would say.
I would say people are pretty excited, as you can imagine. 6-1. The one loss was in Tuscaloosa. They're coming off of a big win over LSU last weekend with a huge crowd, and they retired Eli Manning's number. And you know, tons of former players were back in town. Patrick Willis was here, and Jarrell Poe, and tons of guys. I mean, off of a lot of those teams from the late '90s, early 2000s, back when Eli Manning was the quarterback. And you know, I mean, Lane Kiffin's been here for 17 games now, and it's been pretty much appointment television. They don't win them all, but they're all pretty exciting. And so they've played a lot of these kind of shootout games over the course of the last year and a half. And, you know, they've gone, fellas, from irrelevant to everybody talks about them over the last year and a half. And here they are in this game. You know, they're going to Auburn, and they're in the top 10, and whoever wins this game is sitting pretty kind of going into November in terms of where they are. And I think if from an Ole Miss perspective, if you just find a way to score one more point than Auburn on Saturday night, you wake up in November with kind of everything in front of you, really. You don't control your own destiny in the West the way Auburn would, because Ole Miss has already lost to Alabama, but you would be able to, I think, realistically look at yourself and say, we are maybe on the fringes, but definitely in the playoff conversation. That would probably mean that Matt Corral had a big game. If Ole Miss were to beat Auburn, Corral's got to play well, which would put him very much at the forefront of the Heisman conversation still. And so there's a lot there. There's a lot on the line that, frankly, when you think about where this program was 2 years ago, it's kind of hard to comprehend, really.
Indeed. Grab a super chat real quick. Lance Morgan says, get off them jobs, and we all have our hearts of nation and about to get the booster shot beating Ole Miss this weekend.
I see what he did there.
Pretty clever. Pretty clever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like it, Lance.
Neil, talk to me. Are fans confident about this game? Are there some nerves with Ole Miss fans about this upcoming game?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Look, Ole Miss doesn't win at Jordan-Hare very often. They've won 3 times there in the past. They won in, 99, and they won in 03 when Eli Manning was a senior, and they won in 15 when that was a really good Ole Miss team that went to the Sugar Bowl with Chad Kelly and Laramie Tunsil and Laquan Treadwell and all those guys. So they don't win that at Auburn very often at all. And so, yeah, and then people saw what Auburn did against Arkansas, and I think people have seen the way that Bo Nix is playing, the way that they seem to be sort of ingratiating themselves into Harson's system. And look, Auburn got an open date last week. I mean, Auburn got a chance to get off their feet a little bit and get in the training room and get away from football and all that. And for Ole Miss, this is not an open date. I mean, they've played Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, and now Auburn back to back. They're beat up, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And no, are people confident? No. Are people scared? Sure. I mean, now, is there some confidence when, look, whenever you have Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral on your team and your defense is playing better, you don't just, concede the game. The line's only 3 points, which tells you that if it were at a neutral site, that it would be basically a pick. So,
right.
I mean, I think there's some trepidation, but they've, like I was saying, I mean, this is 17 games now with Lane Kiffin, and they're in all the games. I mean, Bama whacked them pretty good, but other than that, they've been in every game that they've played. So over the last year and a half, so I think that's the expectation of what to expect on Saturday.
Neil, can I ask a question about the Bama loss?
Sure.
I thought that Lane called that game almost like every play was their last play to win it. And part of the end nature of that was the curious play calling. What is the feeling around Ole Miss? I mean, I know you're sitting here and you're thinking we only got one loss and it's to Bama, but what happened there? What was the game plan? Like, what I felt like they kind of I felt like I'm a real big believer in Lane Kiffin as a play caller.
Yeah,
I've seen him call some
beautiful
games. This was one of the worst I felt like I've seen.
Yeah, I think that week, it's no secret Lane Kiffin wants to beat Nick Saban really bad. I mean, there's no one's hiding that at this point. Lane might play word games, but it's a game he really wanted to win. And I think they felt like they had a better shot than they probably did. And they had that opening drive where if you go back and look at it, they drove down the field, they get to the Alabama 5, and it kind of stalled. Jerry and Ely misread a mesh point play and kind of collapsed it, and they ended up going for it. Probably in hindsight would have been better off getting 3 points right there, kind of take a deep breath, settle into the game a little bit. But then the other thing, and Kiffin will tell you this, and you guys will see this on Saturday night, the goal is not to play games close. The goal is to find ways to win games. And I think he looked at what Alabama had offensively compared to the way that Ole Miss was playing defensively, and he said, you know what, we're not going to win with field goals. Let's go get touchdowns. And there's no difference between getting beat by 21 and getting beat by 3. You get beat, and so I think he's just an aggressive guy, and he uses that analytics. And most of the times the analytics work out, but when they don't, Mike, it really looks bad. And you look at it and go, what in the hell are they doing? And
what was he thinking?
And that was one of those things. I mean, he has consistently said that he doesn't care about that criticism. He's going to call games that way. And that's what they did that day, and it just didn't work. I thought Alabama played really well that day, especially early, and Ole Miss didn't. And, you fall down in Tuscaloosa like that, and you're typically not getting out.
Let's go ahead and talk matchups real quick. And let's bring up we got the offensive side. Now, what I want to ask you, and I'm going to get rid of this guy here so people can see you. Talk to me about your offensive line.
First of all, Ole Miss would love for this to be the lineup.
I was about to say, I don't even know if this is correct as far as who their line is right now.
Well, I want to talk about that right guard. Ben Brown announced that he's out this week, out for the season, and I believe it is bicep tendon he tore.
Yeah, he tore his bicep, so he went ahead and had the surgery this week so that he can get ready for the NFL. Ben Brown how big of a loss? Ben Brown will be an NFL offensive guard next year.
Oh, wow.
So who is stepping up in his place, and how do you feel about his replacement this upcoming weekend?
So the next big question with that offensive line, when you look at it, is Caleb Warren there, number 54, the left guard. Is he available? He tried to go against LSU, really couldn't do it, came out. So they'll give him another shot this week and see if he can go. He's a really good run blocking offensive lineman. If he can't go, they'll go with Cedric Melton, who started against LSU, played a lot against Tennessee, actually played really well, a kid from Houston that they're super excited about. But he's young. He's not the experienced guy that Warren and Brown are. Actually, last week they moved Umana over to right guard, the center, transfer from Utah. They moved him to guard, and they brought in Bryce Ramsey at center, who played really well. I think that was one of the things they were super excited about coming out of that LSU game. But look, that's not ideal, right? I mean, if you offered Lane Kiffin this lineup right here with Braylon Sanders and Jonathan Mingo and Chase Rogers and Ben Brown and Caleb Warren, I think he'd be pretty excited about it. He doesn't have that. So, that's the concern for Ole Miss, is just how beat up they are on the offense. And it starts with the line, but Rogers is out. Mingo is out. Sanders is week to week. He didn't play last week at all against LSU. So you get into some real question marks about what can they do offensively against that defense.
And I'm not like, I know what Kiffin can do through the air. We know what Corral can do throwing the ball, but outside of Dontario Drummond, who's your other threat in the passing game that can really exploit Auburn's secondary?
They don't know. Last week their second leading receiver was Henry Parrish out of the backfield.
Right. I was going to say it's going to be probably one of the running backs.
Yeah,
they got 3 pretty good ones.
Got 3 really good backs, and they'll try to use
Connor, and
Ely.
and Henry Parrish. I love Parrish, and I think Parrish is a guy that has a real future. You guys remember Chad Kelly, the quarterback at Ole Miss? His younger brother, Casey Kelly, has been playing some tight end the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
Has actually really contributed. Had a touchdown catch against LSU. They like him a lot. They're going to move Drummond around. They're not just going to play Drummond in one spot, which is what they ideally would do, but they'll move him around. Great hands, really smart player. Really fits into what they're trying to do, Jeff Lebby and Lane Kiffin. So they'll move him into the slot. They'll put him out wide. They'll look for a mismatch. And then after that, guys, it's kind of all hands on deck trying to figure out whether it's Dennis Jackson or John Rice Plumlee or Jacour Pearson. They're just searching for another receiver right there. They've moved Miles Battle from cornerback back to wide receiver. He had a catch last week against LSU. So they're just kind of hunting and fishing right now. They're just casting and trying to find somebody that can get hot. They just don't have that depth at receiver with Mingo and Sanders out.
Yeah, Plumlee doesn't look to be a really natural guy for the position. Like, he's got speed, and trying to use him in speed sweep situations when it's like running routes and recognizing how to come out of breaks. He just doesn't look like he's got it right now.
He's a quarterback his whole life, Ike. And you move somebody to receiver and you go, yeah, you run really fast, but there's more to being a receiver than running really fast. You've got to, it's technique and hands and stuff. And you're right. It's a astute observation. They use him a lot on some speed sweep stuff where you can get him out in space and like on a wheel route because he can really run, but he's not that guy that can go give you 65 snaps at receiver and contribute. You've got to pick and choose the 12, 13 snaps a game where maybe you can take advantage of a mismatch or catch a safety or a linebacker, sneaking their eyes into the backfield or whatever. That's a lot of schemes there. And this is not a league where you can just scheme people to death because everybody's got players.
So if you're Jeff Lebby, Lane Kiffin, you definitely want to continue to lean on your running game. And we know that the quarterback is going to be a big part of that. Corral is going to be a very big part of that. How do you anticipate Lebby and Lane Kiffin using Corral in the run game?
Well, look, they're going to try. You can control the defensive alignment to a certain degree as well, and they're going to try to do that a lot. Arkansas did some of that against Auburn. Ole Miss will try to do even more of it. And then Corral, assuming that he's healthy, and I thought he looked okay last week, and he's probably a little better now. Got out of that LSU game pretty clean. He's depending on how Auburn does it. Does Auburn, use a spy that follows him around? Or, does Auburn make the mistake that Tennessee made where those linebackers are on third and long? Those linebackers are trying to get back into zone coverages. Corral read that, saw a lane, takes off. And it's the part of his game that he doesn't get credit for. You guys brought it up just then. He is a really athletic kid, a physical runner who understands the game, understands running lanes, is not hesitant. He will take off and go. If it's 3rd and 11, he thinks he can get 12 or 13, he will go get it.
Yeah, I think that's, to me, is the biggest danger for this defense is the legs of Matt Corral. He's a prolific passer, and Auburn has not been great in the secondary. But when, you're going to be dropping back and figuring, all right, well, their run game's not working, we're going to have them drop back, and you just pin your ears back to go after him. He's just as dangerous, getting into open space. So it's going to have to be a situation, like you said, of someone trying to spy him and being available at all times to just know where Matt Corral is going to be.
I think it's that way for both quarterbacks, because both quarterbacks
for sure
can beat you with their legs if you bring you bring the house or whatever. The late Joe Lee Dunn, where he says, I didn't blitz, I just brought 8. If you bring too many and you don't get to them, if you're not disciplined in your rush lanes and stuff, either one of these quarterbacks can really make you pay for that. And,
for sure.
So much of Ole Miss's deal is Sanders. If Sanders is available, even if he's not fully healthy, if he's available, you have to respect his speed. He can take the top off of the defense. Without him out there, I don't know that they have anybody. The one guy to watch for would be Dennis Jackson. He can do it at times. He's struggled with alignment. He struggled with getting in position. when they're running tempo. If you look at Ole Miss, they're getting a ton of penalties, a ton of pre-snap penalties. It's been very frustrating for that coaching staff, and so it's one of the reasons he hasn't played much. They could really rely on Sanders to always get lined up right, to be the right spot. Without him, everything falls off, and you become a little bit of a different offense. They've had to grind it a little bit more. They all walk around the building wearing score from far sweatshirts and hoodies and stuff, and when they're healthy, they score from far. They'll light you up, but when they're not, when they're this lineup where it's Dontario Drummond and just a bunch of guys, it's they're having to grind out possessions.
So, as I mentioned, Ole Miss has really, the running game has been a big part of what Ole Miss likes to do, and I've been really impressed with the balance of Ole Miss offense this season. In your opinion, what to give Ole Miss a good shot at this game? How many yards do you think they need to tear off against Auburn to really put themselves in a good position to win this game, in your opinion?
They got to do something similar to what they did last week, which was 450 yards or somewhere in there. It's probably they've got to look. They're not going to limit Auburn to 17 points or something. That's not realistic. It's not going to happen. Ole Miss is going to have to get into the 30s, and so to get into the 30s, that's probably, I don't know, 450 to 500 yards. And it's always been the misnomer about Kiffin is that he's this pass happy guy. Right. They really love to run the football. That's what they do. They did it at FAU. They've done it at Ole Miss. They've got 3 high quality backs who can beat you in different ways. You have to respect Connor between the tackles. You've got to respect Ely's speed. Yeah. And Parrish has that second cut that you can't teach running backs. He does it. I mean, he was a kid that came out of South Florida and just lit it up at the high school level. And he's had some really big games at Ole Miss already. And he's just now kind of starting to kind of find his ability. And we just talked about Corral, the runner. So, I mean, if you told me that Ole Miss won the game, I would tell you that Ole Miss won the game on the ground.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be passing. It would be that they established a running game, and you got guys like Monday and Puckett and guys like that to kind of cheat with their eyes a little bit, and then you scheme something behind them and hit a big play with Drummond or hit a big play with Dennis Jackson or something like that. That if you told me that's how it, I always talk about the football gods. If the football gods came in down here and said Ole Miss wins, and that's all I'm telling you, that's what I would guess happened.
What do you say the offensive identity of this team is? I mean, we just talked about rushing. A lot gets made of Matt Corral, but you got 340 rush attempts to only like 217 pass attempts on the season. So it seems they believe in running the football, but with the quarterback that they have, how do you see Lane calling this one? How do you see him attacking this one?
They want to go fast. They want to run the football. They want to get Auburn off balance on defense, get Auburn on their heels a little bit on defense. You want to frustrate a defense. You want linebackers to, like I said, try to cheat a little bit. And then they're really good at catching you out of place. They'll go really fast. And if you watch them against Tennessee some, against LSU some the last couple of weeks, when they get into that tempo and they get their pace going, defenses don't get set. You can tell guys are trying to communicate with one another, and they're catching you with too many men on the field, stuff like that. That's when you start seeing those things happen, they're playing the game that they want to play.
Yeah, I got another question. So, can you talk about Matt Corral, right? It's just such an interesting player to watch this year. Against Tennessee, 30 carries for 190 yards. Can you explain how that happened? And is this a serious worry for Auburn, Matt Corral running the ball in this football game?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to run it 30 times. Tennessee gave it to him, and he took it. And in that game, Sanders couldn't play, and they had Drummond, and they were not prepared for Sanders not being able to play, and people keep doing with Corral. They're like, I'm waiting for him to have a Heisman moment. I'm like, that was a Heisman moment. That was a Johnny Manziel sort of game. He put his team on his back and carried them, and that place was crazy that night in Knoxville. And they gave him the run, and he took it. But he's not always your standard quarterback runner. hey, I'm going to give you 6 yards. He's going to take 5 and slide. That's not
Right.
what he does. I mean, he'll put a move on you. He'll run over you. He's a very, very strong, athletic guy, and he really understands the game. It's always been the thing about him. He's super competitive, but Matt's a really bright kid. And the previous staff with Rich Rodriguez and that offense, they just didn't use his talents. This one with Jeff Lebby and Lane Kiffin, they maximize what Matt can bring to the table.
So before we flip the field, we got Cam Riley there as a star. We got Will there. Are we going to see Papo, guys, you think, this weekend?
I mean, I think it's a good possibility. I don't know if he starts the game, though. That's the thing. Like, I think they're going to play it cautious with him. But it is a good possibility that he is in this game at some point in time. Or even if he starts, I think he's going to split snaps. I don't think he plays the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and flip the field and talk our offense versus Ole Miss's defense. And that's the credit card balance. Let's talk about what we got. And actually, what I would ask for you, Neil, it's kind of hard to get a read on Ole Miss's defense. It's easy to look statistically at what Ole Miss has done so far this year and says, yeah, we can get some yards on these guys, but we've seen them appear to improve defensively in some areas. So what is your read on them, especially in terms of their, I guess, run defense and pass defense? What do you make of them 7 games into the season?
Well, they've definitely improved week to week. Here, the last 2 weeks, they've played some of their best football. They had a very strong showing against LSU last week against the run. Really took the run away a week after LSU ran wild on Florida. A lot of that is due to a few of the guys that you have listed here. Sam Williams, number 7, has always been a guy that they just begged him to give them day in, day out, play in, play out effort. And he was sporadic from an effort standpoint the last 2 years. And this year, Sam has really played hard. I mean, he knows it's his money year. The NFL's watching him. He's got NFL talent, and now he's starting to show it every play, and he's become very disruptive. They're better in the middle. They play a three-man front. KD Hill, number 55, has been very steady. They have super high hopes for Isaiah Iton, number 96 there. And, early he looked like a JUCO transfer. You have to teach JUCO guys, hey, you got to play hard every play or you get whacked in this league. And it took him a few games, but that's starting to happen. The lights are coming on for him. And then, guys, the big 2, Chance Campbell, the transfer from Maryland, number 44, has been a huge difference maker for this team. And Jake Springer, number 1, the transfer from Navy, has done 2 things. One, he's given them a tremendous physicality at safety, and he's also allowed them to move Otis Reese off of that safety spot into a nickel kind of rover sort of spot where he can get all over the field and make plays. And so as that's happened, we just described, right, impact on the front level, impact in the middle with Campbell, and impact in the back with Springer and Reese. And then a guy that you guys don't have up here right now, you have Lakia Henry there, and Lakia's played well. But Mark Robinson has come in, a linebacker who's a converted running back, transferred from Missouri State as a walk-on. They moved him to linebacker out of necessity. Had 13 tackles last week against LSU. He and Campbell really complement each other well. And as all of those things have come together, I mean, the rest. You start getting results. And they're a significantly better defense than they were a year ago when Auburn saw them. Now, does that mean that that they're a top defense? No. They're kind of a middle of the pack defense, but they're trending upward. This is going to be a huge test for them. But they got lit up by Arkansas, 676 yards.
Yeah.
Since then, Springer came in after that game, and they changed some things around. They played more of Iton. They played a lot more of Robinson with Campbell, and they've had 2 pretty strong games defensively.
We got a few more questions to talk about this matchup, Neil. Sit tight. Ike, you want to go ahead and stop here? We'll do our drawing for the T-shirt.
Yeah, let's get this drawing going real quick so we can make sure that people are still tuned in to what's going on. 39, excuse me,
That's not bad.
people in here. That's not too bad. Yeah, so I'm going to give y'all 10 seconds to get in here on this drawing. Hashtag get your weight up if you want to get this t-shirt. If not, it's time to get into this thing. 5 seconds and I'm going for it. We got enough people here. We don't have to all right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Who's going to be the winner tonight? It's the t-shirts. Corey. Is it going to stop on Corey?
Chase. I just saw Chase commenting a minute ago, so I know
he's in here.
I know Chase is in here. Chase, listen, man.
You know what to do.
Yes, it's business at the War Report. Chase, send us your address and your t-shirt size, and we'll get that right out to you.
Walt says Corey wins. Oh,
yeah.
What we got? Okay. Walt says Corey wins, but he gone.
Preemptively.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we see you, Chase. Definitely business at the War Report. I think he needs to give his size, his address, and his size there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to it, guys. Let's get back to this matchup here. So, what we've been seeing, Neil, is that defenses have been basically playing the run. They know where the biggest threats are with our offense, and it's Tank Bigsby. Even when he comes out of the game, they're looking for Jarquez Hunter now. So, if you're Ole Miss, if you're the defensive coordinator, the tape is kind of out in terms of how you play Auburn or what's your best chance against Auburn. Do you think that's what Ole Miss does in this game, that they play the run?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what choice you have, right? I mean, you do have to kind of pick your poison against Auburn. They've got that balanced passing attack. There's not like one guy. I mean, I know Robertson's the leading receiver, but they got like 4 guys that have 21, 22, 28, whatever catches. So they can beat you with those weapons. They can use the tight end. Shanker's a good player. We've talked about Nix. Nix can beat you with his feet. But look, you've got to take Bigsby away. You've got to take Hunter away. You've got to limit them and force Auburn into make them a passing team. That's what you have to do. I mean, because if you're Ole Miss, if they can run the ball on you, you're not going to win. Because if Auburn rolls up 300 yards of rushing offense, it's an L. I mean, there's no way around it. They're gonna eat the clock. They're gonna keep Matt Corral on the sidelines. You're gonna have to take some chances, and you're gonna have to hope, if you're Ole Miss, that you can force Bo Nix into some of his old habits. Because he looked great against Arkansas. I thought he played like a perfect football game. You've got to hope that he makes a mistake or two, and if he does, you've got a chance, because it's a turn in a game that I think is going to be close, and in a game that gets into the fourth quarter, it comes down to turnovers, and Matt Corral hasn't committed many this year, and neither has Nix, frankly. But you're hoping that you can force him into a mistake in the passing game, or maybe he tries to force something. And I'm sure that if you're Harsin, you'd love to run Bigsby and Hunter and just pound that Ole Miss defense and force them into putting a fourth man up front, force another man into the box, create something where a play action gives you a big play over the top.
They haven't. I mean, they're giving up the second most yards per game on the ground in the conference right now. So, realistically, where are the weak spots here in this rush defense?
Well, if you look at the last couple of weeks, they've gotten a little better about it. Now, this is going to be a big test, obviously, because Auburn can lean on you, and I'm a huge Bigsby fan. I think he's terrific. You're going to run. You're going to try to run right at the perimeter, right at the ends. The middle linebacker Campbell's a really good player. He's gotten a lot of tackles. Robinson's played better, but you want to run to the perimeter on these guys. Neither one of the corners are terrific run players. They're a little weak in that spot. That's kind of where I see Auburn trying to do a lot of that kind of sweep looking stuff, counters, and then you want to mix in the play action at that point. It's the same thing that Ole Miss is trying to do to Auburn on the offensive side. Auburn's going to try to do this to Ole Miss Ole Miss's defense. You're going to try to get their eyes in the wrong place. You're going to try to catch a safety, whether it's Springer or Finley or Reese or whoever. You're going to try to get one of those guys to cheat a little bit to try to make a run play and pop something behind them with play action with quarterbacks who are very good at that.
Yeah, the follow-up question I have about the rush defense is Caesar kind of mentioned the tape is out on Auburn, right? Like, try to stop the run, force them to pass. However, what kind of defensive game plan should we expect? Is it going to be like a bait and switch? Let's try to bait them into something, or is it just a all-out blatant, we're going to throw the house at your run game and dare you to throw kind of game plan we're looking at?
Yeah, I don't know, because they've changed a lot the last couple of weeks as they've gotten some of their personnel back. I mean, Springer's such an important part of their defense, and they didn't have him. They had him for the first part of the Louisville game to open the season. Then they didn't have him again until Tennessee. And since they've gotten Springer back, they've been a lot more aggressive. So my guess is that you'll see more aggression. I mean, DJ Durkin, when he was at Maryland, and Michigan was a very aggressive defensive coordinator. I think you'll see more of that here. And look, you're not going to win this game if you're Ole Miss by playing conservative, chess. You're going to win this by kind of aggressive attacking, trying to force a mistake, trying to get them off the field. You want to get your quarterback back on the field. You don't want Auburn to go on 14 play marches that eat 7 minutes off the clock. You want to get them off the field, and you want to get your quarterback back on the field, because if it's going to be a shootout, and I don't really think it's going to be, but if it's going to be a shootout, you want Matt Corral on the field as much as possible.
Yeah.
Neil, we know you got to go. How can people get in touch with you, sir?
Yeah, sure. It's a part of the Rivals Network, same as JG Tate and all those guys. It's olemiss.rivals.com, rebelgrove.com. You can catch our podcast, all of our live streaming on YouTube at MPW Digital. That's M as in Mike, P as in Paul, W Digital. We do lots of pregame stuff. We have a daily podcast that we live stream on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Twitter at my name, Neil McCready.
Well, we appreciate you for spending some of your time with us. Before we let you go, real quick, give us a score. Who do you think wins it?
I'll get you on the record.
Yeah, I've got Auburn 31-27. I think it's a close game.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a fourth quarter game. If you told me Ole Miss won, I'm not just shocked, but I'd be a little surprised. I think all the intangibles point towards Auburn.
Wow. Is this our first guest to pick us?
Yeah, it is.
First
It
guest
is.
to pick us.
It is. It
Hey,
is.
You're invited to the cookout, Neil.
Neil, we know you got to go, man. So again, thanks again for joining us, and we hope to work with you again in the future, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you
Good
having
luck
me.
this weekend. Yep.
All right, guys. Do we want to go ahead and just run? We'll run a quick ad real quick, guys. So sit tight.
All right, business owners, high-income professionals, listen up. Have you ever considered that by funding a 401k or IRA, you are potentially creating a massive tax burden when you retire? Contrary to what you hear from traditional advisors and accountants, 401k or IRA do not save on taxes. It postpones the tax and tax calculation. Wealthy people don't have access to some special tax code. They use financial products, parts of the tax code that are available to everyone, including you and strategy. Would you like to learn how to take advantage of the tax code? All right, well, check this out. Our guy, Ethan Dawe, the owner of Innovative Financial Solutions, has clients throughout the USA and is a nationally recognized expert in the veterinary community. You know how we love to say puppies. So contact Ethan at 251-243-6038 or email him, ethan@ethandawe.com. Ethan Dawe is your alternative to traditional financial planning. Tell him the War Report sent you.
Big thanks to Ethan Dawe at Innovative Financial Solutions for sponsoring, being a co-sponsor of the War Report. Guys, become an insider. We really want you to go watch this segment. This was a film review that we did with former receivers Ben Obamanu and Devin Aroma-Shadu. It's brought to you by Devin, who is a mortgage banker. You can hit him up. He's licensed in states across the Southeast, but please hit him up for your mortgage needs. These guys did a great job breaking down film with us, just kind of the ins and outs of wide receiver play. Can't stress, I learned so much listening to these guys talk. and at times joke and go over their experiences. Both of them played in the NFL for some notable quarterbacks and some notable coaches. So you don't want to miss that. Become an insider and go find that on our Watch the Film playlist.
Guys, let's go ahead and give some final thoughts before we give our predictions for this game. I like to do this. Auburn wins if. Auburn wins if we improve our communication on defense and get our calls in on time, so that we're prepared for Ole Miss's tempo. I think the story of this game is going to be what our defense does against Ole Miss's offense. So communication should be of the utmost importance. And if we do that well this Saturday, I like for us to be in position. We know we got guys who can play well in space. So I look for us to communicate well and get those calls in on time so that we don't get exposed by Ole Miss's tempo. Ike Jones.
Yeah,
Auburn wins if.
I think Auburn wins if we can imagine this run game or short passing game, whatever it is that's going to create long drives. Keep Ole Miss's offense off the field is really what I'm saying here. We need to possess the ball and make sure that we're doing that consistently. I don't need our defense getting a bunch of snaps and Ole Miss getting the opportunity to, pick us apart offensively. So get the ball, possess it. I think that we have the ability to do that in the run game. We need to reimagine and figure out a way to do that this game. And I think we win if we do that. If we win the time of possession by more than like 5 minutes, like it needs to be a significant gap there.
All right. Be Will. Auburn wins if.
Auburn wins if we are intact on defense. If we got Papo back, if all of our major contributors are there, everybody comes out healthy, then I think we win this game. I think the extra week to prepare and a full deck is actually exactly what we need to control them. They've seen the LSU game. They've seen the Tennessee game. Listen, Ole Miss had to survive by putting a lot on tape. And on top of being injured, that means they can't be quite as inventive as they probably would be otherwise coming off of just a week. I mean, maybe they didn't have to prep too much for LSU, fair. But I think once you have to do so much with your quarterback and with your offense and then with your backups have to come in the game, you're kind of out there and you're a little exposed because of that. So I think if we come out mostly intact on defense, we win.
Talk to me, Mike G. Auburn wins if.
I think Auburn wins if we win the turnover battle. Protect the football and make them turn it over. The last 2 games, we've had game-changing turnovers. We've forced game-changing turnovers, either to stop a run to win it or to, again, just kind of snuff the lights out down the stretch. Most notably, the Derek Hall sack, fumble, recovery for a touchdown, right? They need some of that in this game because Ole Miss is good. They're going to have their chances. I think they're going to move up and down the field on us. Bend but don't break is unfortunately going to be a thing again. But you got to be able to score, win the turnover battle. Don't turn it over more than they do, but capitalize on those turnovers as well. So, this could go either way for me. I feel like this team has a chance to make a statement. You can do that essentially on defense by just forcing Corral into some mistakes, man. He's not very good under pressure. He's not a great quarterback under pressure. He's one of the lowest rated quarterbacks in the league if you can get pressure on him. I know that's been a little bit of an issue for us, but, force him into mistakes, man, win the turnover battle.
Which, oddly enough, this has been a pretty good year for Bo Nix under pressure this year. He has done well when blitzed this season, which is not typical for him. And I want to add another thing. Like Matt Corral is clearly like 80% of their offense, right? So like I think you have to force Matt Corral to not, as crazy as this is going to sound, not beat you with his legs. Keep him in the pocket and make him make plays from the pocket. He can throw the ball, but you want him to be in the pocket making plays, not quick. Take away that first read, right? And then don't let him escape. If you could do that, you bottle him up, then you have a better chance of him making those mistakes that Mike is talking about.
So we're spying. Do you anticipate
Yeah, I do
Mason
think they're going to do
spying.
a lot of spies, but then a lot of just disciplined rush lanes, right? Like it doesn't always have to be a spy to
Correct.
bottle up a rushing court, because that's what we did against KJ Jefferson, right? Like we
Right.
spied him sometimes we didn't, right? We just made sure, if they're going to have the turmoil that he's talking about at their offensive guards and center, then I expect Tony Fair and Marcus Harris, those guys that are going to be playing the middle of that defensive line to get in there and put a guard and a center in Matt Corral's lap, right? Like, don't let him run around out there. Collapse the middle of the pocket, and then you have the opportunity to run him into some of your edge rushing guys, your Ekuliotas, your, whoever's going to be playing on the other side. I don't know who that's going to be for this game. But yeah, I mean, if, Wooden's going to be over there, like, it doesn't matter. Like Derek Hall, like those guys need to make sure that they're not rushing too far upfield. But if you push a guard into his lap, he doesn't have a place to escape to.
Right.
How important is first and second down for our defense?
Crucial.
Because we already know what they're going to do.
But we were terrible in third and long last week, right? Like we weren't great on third and long. So we've got to get better at that. We were actually better on third and fourth and short than we were on third and long, ironically, which is crazy for most defenses. But Matt Corral is going to be the key again on those plays where it's like you're so intent on pin your ears back, go after the quarterback, but then you let him escape for 12, 14, 15 yards. That's no good. So it's just going to be important that we play a little more discipline in our third down defense. Doesn't have to be blitz. And that's the thing that we need to get out of in our play calling, because that's what we did a lot. And that's how Arkansas burned us, is that we were blitzing a lot, but the blitzes weren't getting home. Like send 4, maybe 5, but there's no need to send 6 or 7 on third and long, and make those quarterbacks, make KJ Jefferson, which they ended up doing, beat you from the pocket. Make Matt Corral beat you from the pocket, not off schedule plays and improvisation.
Pick 'em time. I am going to go. I think Auburn gets over 30 again for the second straight SEC game. I like Auburn 34. Pretty close to Neil's score, 34-27. I like AU. Ike, what you got?
I don't know if we get to 30 again this game. I'm going to say right at 30. So I'm going to say we score 30, and I'm going to give Ole Miss 24. 30-24.
Okay. He will.
Jason Hill actually stole my prediction. 37-31 Auburn.
So we're almost going to hit 40. How much of that is coming from the offense, B?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that score if the defense scores.
Yo, answer that. I don't know. That's why I think the score is going to be.
Hey, it could happen. It could, or the defense gives the offense a short field.
Yeah.
So it could happen. It can happen. Mike G, talk to me, man. What's your score?
I'm really close to picking us to lose this game.
I could tell.
I'm on the fence. Just which all we were coming off a bye week, so we get to see how this coach handles bye weeks. Now there was some drama that may or may not be anything, we don't know. So I'm leaving those possibilities for Saturday out there. But like, I think if we don't get to 30, we definitely lose.
Yeah.
And to Ike's kind of like, what Ike said, 30-24, right? I think us not getting the 30 means that we're losing the field position battle and they get the 30 and beyond. Yeah. So we got to score 30 points in this game. I want to believe in it. I want to believe in what I saw against Arkansas 2 weeks ago. I saw an efficient passing game kind of bail out a team that was stale against the run. And then the running game got going late in the game, and we just kind of shut them out, right? We just kind of closed the door on them late. Our defense came up with a big turnover. I'm going to go 35-20 Auburn.
I was about to say,
Doesn't
you don't
sound close to
Yeah, well, it's
losing.
because it's not about the game being close. It's about which Auburn do I think is going to show up, and right now because they're so inconsistent, either one could show up. The sub-20 Auburn could show up, which we've
I just
seen.
I don't believe in Ole Miss's defense enough for us to only score 20 points. That's really what that's about.
Yeah, I mean their defense is bad, and I snickered a little bit when he said you're not going to hold Auburn to 17, and I was like, but Auburn will hold Auburn to 17, right? Our dropped pass is going to come back, our inconsistent throw is going to come back, right? Like I'm worried about the consistency of the passing game as a whole. So
it's a valid concern.
yeah, like I mean, just which one's coming back here? We made look what Georgia. I can't. I'm not in the group that can forget about Georgia State just yet. So we're and even the performance at LSU, we snuck out that win, but man, by the numbers, it wasn't great. So I'm just stuck about like which team do I believe is going to show up? I'm gonna go 35-20. I think that our defense has a chance to limit Corral, and you know this might be the best run defense they faced all year. Yeah. I mean this I think that's a true statement, right? We'll be the best run defense they faced all year. So if we can limit that, and I'm not confident in that statement, by the way, but I was kind of looking at those numbers before. Their run defense is terrible. Ours is top 4 in the league.
Yeah.
So
and that's why I feel comfortable that we could get to 30 because but see we've said that about other run defenses and our run offense just still hasn't shown up. So that's why it's like maybe it's not just running the ball. We've got to get the short passing game in there.
Yeah.
But what he said about running around the edges means that this needs to be a marquee game for two guys, Sean Shivers and Jarquez Hunter.
Yeah,
because both of those guys run around the now Tank will bounce it to the edges better, you know, when he's running around, but he's not a
design run,
right? Yeah. Like they tried to use him on some speed sweep stuff. I still argue that's because he was hurt and they were trying to get other ways to put the ball in his hands. But Jarquez Hunter is a more natural sweep runner. Like when they run the sweep, Jarquez Hunter does a really good job of getting out there on the edge and knowing where to find the cutback lane. Like that's just kind of his groove. Is we're going to run it wide and he's going to cut it back up. He's a one cut. He's really good on that one cut stuff on the wide gives that they're going to do with the wide zones. And then Shivers on a lot of the speed sweep stuff that he like. Those two guys need to have a really good game for us. And then we need to have that wide receiver bubble screen game working to put those corners of Ole Miss out there in an island and make them do work in open space. So I feel like that's the strategy that I would like to see us go out there and employ. And you know, run it wide, then throw it to the seams, right? Stretch them out, get them looking in that direction. Then you're going to go play action, tight end seam, wide receiver seam. Hopefully that is what we end up seeing. I don't know. We'll see.
What a statement this coach can make coming off a bye week.
Factual.
Right? Like, so, if you don't, this is soapbox time for me about what I feel like they need to show in this game. And it's not all about winning and losing to me in year one, because they're ahead of schedule. Man, Brian Harsin has proved to this point he's ahead of schedule. But what I want to see is you got an extra week. You got an extra week to prepare for your opponent. Hopefully we got healthier. Hopefully Papo will be on the field. I don't think we're going to get Moultrie back until at least A&M. You know, did they find some practice warriors over the bye week? Did some guys keep fighting to win positions in practice? I heard we have a battle going on at left tackle. Per Tiger Talk today, there's a battle going on between Troxel and Killy. So I want to see them go out there and show some heart, man, on Saturday. Brian Harsin said, coming to Jordan-Hare has to be a scary prospect for teams. And we've had some amazing moments in this game over the last 20 years. We've had some emotional moments. I saw a video on when Etheridge was lying lifeless on top of the Ole Miss offensive player, and he had the wherewithal to just lay there until they could get him off. Right? Turned out they said he could have saved his life by not just doing what players do is pushing a guy off you that's laying on you lifeless. Right? This game has produced some moments in Auburn history. But for Brian Harsin in his first year, man, if this team comes out and they just look prepared, if the offense can build on what they did against Arkansas with an extra week to prepare, if our receivers look more confident and they're catching the ball with confidence, if our quarterback is as accurate as he was against Arkansas, if our line steps up and gives our quarterback time to throw it, knowing that they're going to come after him, man. They're going to try to just stuff the run and get after both. Force them out into his right. I hope we can make them pay Saturday for what I know they're going to try to do. Now, Neil got on here about he started talking about the defense. And a part of me was like, all right, tell us where this defense is weak, because this is one of the worst defenses in the league. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about how great they are. But can we move past the time? What I'm hoping is Brian Harsin is taking us past the time where we sit every Saturday and hope that our opponent lays an egg. I'm sick of that, right? I see a lot of people. I don't believe in Ole Miss's defense. I don't want to care about their defense. I want to believe in Auburn's offense.
Facts.
I want to believe in Auburn's defense. I want the opponent on the other side to not matter, because we're going to go out there and execute. That's the brand of football I hope we see on Saturday. Matt Corral be damned. Yeah, he's a great quarterback. He shouldn't be one Saturday. He can win the Heisman every other Saturday. That's what we did to Joe Burrow in 2019. Let me see that Auburn. Because you're right, they're not good on defense. Over the back half, we have to start to impose our will on teams. That's it. We should be the better football team at this point. Nothing Ole Miss has done says that their ceiling is higher than ours. We might be further from ours than they are, but that's a scary prospect. Because we're sitting here with 2 losses to top 10 teams at the time.
Right.
That's it. Win at home, win on the road. Protect your house, man. We let Georgia come in here and do whatever the hell they wanted to. I don't want to see that Saturday. Not from Ole Miss. Protect our house. Right? And send a message to the rest of the league. We're coming. Bet on Bama if you want to. Bet on A&M if you want to. But, man, they can really put the rest of the league on notice on Saturday. Top 10 team. And I'm fully prepared for the media to not give us credit. Because that's what they'll do. We'll be the top 10 Ole Miss, and then they'll come back and say, they'll drop Ole Miss to like 50. And move us up 2 slots. Or you make a real statement that old brand of football is gone and this Auburn is for real. I just want to see that we're trending up, man. That's it. That's it. That's all I want to see on Saturday. I want to see us trend up.
Hashtag trend up.
Hashtag trend up. Bet that up. Hashtag bet that up. Trend that up.
All right, Dorian Hurd, appreciate you, man. Those pitch play. I'm looking forward to see. I feel like there's something that Bobo is trying to do off of this pitch to Hunter, because we've seen it a lot and it's been very effective.
There's a couple of things that
I feel like something's coming with this.
I was actually hoping to get into during the bye week about diagramming some other plays. So I did, and we might drop that this week. I did a diagram of the first drive from Arkansas and just like showed like every play. And one of the things that I don't know if you guys like, the team here has seen it, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a play that it was a screen to Tank, right? Tank comes in motion across and they screen it to him on the side.
Mhm.
They actually set up a wide receiver screen on the other side of that play. So on that same play, there is a wide receiver screen available on the other side. So if you pay attention to a lot of what Bobo has done so far this year, every play, not every one of them, but a lot of the plays that we have, there's something going on the opposite side of that play that he's setting up as well that we just haven't run yet. But he's showing it on film to keep defenses honest, or to see, are they paying attention to it, right? And so there are some things that off of that play that we're talking about where if anybody remembers, it's the long run that he had against LSU. It's that play where it's around the edge. They're actually, I mean, they show it every single time. It's a jet motion, or not a jet motion, but excuse me, a reverse motion that they bring off of that every single time. But I haven't looked on the backside of that play to see what else is available. But yes, there's a couple of things that are possibilities off of that as different options.
Just Roggle says ties for that sermon. Scorpio in the squad says collection plate. So yeah, our thoughts about tight ends.
Landon King, I need to see more of him.
Yeah, I'm excited about him though. I'm excited about his prospects, man. He showed us.
He looks good. I mean, physically he looks good. He looks the part for sure.
Yeah, man. Listen, Brian Harsin, we keep hearing about these guys who are winning practice. They're going out there and they're impressing this coach in practice, and they're earning the right to be on the field on Saturdays. They say it repeatedly. So if we're not seeing a guy, he may not be winning practice. And we're seeing some more guys out there. So I'm excited that some of these younger guys that we didn't see a whole lot earlier in the season are starting to get the message and win practice. Capers, Malcolm Johnson, Landon King, right?
Yeah.
I think that Jarquez won practice in the offseason.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm ready to see some more guys win practice and get on the field and show them what they can do, because I'm not convinced that we're fielding the most talented guys just yet. I think this team is underrated in terms of the level of talent that they have at every position, and they've just got to earn the right. I mean, I think that Harsin is willing to lose games to do things his way a year one.
Yeah,
I think he'll lose a game to send a message that it's going to be my way or the highway. You will show up, you will try hard, you will practice hard, or you will not play.
Yeah.
So.
Well, guys, listen, we want to hear, if you're watching this on replay, many people watching live with us have given their feedback in the comment section as to what they think the score will be. We want to hear from you. Drop the score to the Auburn Ole Miss game in the comment section. For those of you watching on replay, we definitely want to hear from you. Before we get out of here, we have a few announcements. Mike G, take it away, sir.
Hey, listen, man, become an insider. We really want you guys to do this. $5.99 is all it takes. You can do this on our front page of our YouTube channel. If you're on an iPhone, you won't see the join button, but you can get on from a computer. You'll see that. Choose Insider, log in with the same credentials that you have on your iPhone, and your perks will transfer. Now, what perks do we speak of? Well, we just dropped a Watch the Film last night. This is one of the, this might, I don't know, Ike might disagree with me. To me, this is the best one we've done.
No, hands down. There's no disagreement.
I loved this. Watch the film and learn so much. These guys, Devin and Ben, are so smart, and the incredible high IQ football players just breaking down. And, you know, in talking to Ben, let me tell you, which is not always the case, he's watching.
Yeah, he's definitely watching games.
He's definitely watching the games. He's calling these guys out by name and, you know, talking about how they play and, you know, their play styles and their strengths and weaknesses. Ben was a joy to talk to, put him together with Devin, and it was just an incredible duo of breaking things down for us. So you got to be an insider to catch this segment, and hit Devin up. Listen, if you're in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Tennessee, Devin can help you out with a mortgage as well too, and Maryland. Yep, and Maryland. He's up here in the DMV area. Devin can help you out with a mortgage too. So that's what he's doing with his life right now. Help him out. Give him a call. His contact information is here. We appreciate him donating a little bit of his time to just help educate the fan base, man, on what it means to be wide receiver in the SEC. Also, as an insider, we're giving away tickets to the Mississippi State game. I know we're on the back half of the season, guys. We're going to keep giving you guys reasons to become insiders. The content is going to get better in the offseason, believe it or not. Some of the things we have planned that I will not be a clumsy chef and spill the beans about yet. But, guys, Ike is working on something that's going to blow your mind, but it's going to be insider only. I'm so excited about what Ike's in the kitchen cooking. Listen, he's got the potion and he's stewing something up that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. We are independent content creators bringing you that hot-ish every week. So become an insider. And you don't want to miss this stuff that we have coming. It's going to be so good. We're putting in a lot of hard work for you guys. Every dollar you donate to our channel, every membership that signs up helps us do even more for you. We're on podcast. Go check us out on podcast, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud. We're all over the place. We appreciate you guys for going and helping us climb the podcast charts. And last but not least, shout out to our title sponsor, auburnsports.com. Our guy, JG Tate. We appreciate the Commodore. He was one of our first. He was the first to believe in us, kind of. Right? He hit us up, and we've had him on in the spring, and now he's sponsoring this segment. So he's a big supporter of our content. We appreciate him for sponsoring the Wednesday Night War Room.
Shout out again to BUSR. Guys, again, go over to busr.com/report to set up an account, especially if you're out there betting on games. Do a BUSR. They're supporters of the War Report, so go support them. Also, guys, remember, before you get out of here, before you click off of this video, share the video on your social media. Please use hashtag Get Your Weight Up, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. It helps us out a bunch. Also, be sure to give the thumbs up on this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do that. Also, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at The War Report. We are TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We got more on the way, and we definitely will be seeing you guys this weekend for our live show. But until then, have an amazing week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.